What's some juicy gossip you just found out in your personal lives? Story 1. Last and final edit. I have now left this job after far too much hogwash, including me having to deal with constant panic attacks as well as severe depression and anxiety stemming from the constant, terrible people I have to deal with every day. I have since moved on to a new job, and as of me quitting on July 12, 2019, nothing was done against this manager that I know of. I do still have friends working there, for the time being, seeing as many of us are quitting in droves, who will keep me up to date, but as of now I know nothing. Sorry to make it a lame ending with no outcome, but I needed to get out of that place before I jumped off a cliff and put a bullet in my head. Original post. My office manager has a giant, massive HR case being built against her because she's been pulling some royally shady smeg. Last year, some of us have been having issues with system access at my job. Thankfully, not me. It's a known issue, and it's been getting fixed here and there, but then it rears its ugly head again. Anyway, about 5 or 6 months ago, a friend of mine in another department started losing access. My office manager, who is my boss's boss, she runs the whole friggin' Megillah, tells this person to go home for the day since you don't have system access, and specifically told that it wouldn't be held against her. So, what the hell? It's not like she can do her job anyway, right? She goes home. This happens about 8 more times where she comes to work and her systems don't work and she's told to go home. Now fast forward to about 2 weeks before the year ends. The girl who's been sent home gets called over by her manager and told she has to sign a final written warning. When asked why, she's told that because she has used up all of her FMLA and sick leave. She said that it's not possible and asked for proof before signing the document. Her manager pulls up all the times and days it was used, and lo and behold, it was every single time she was told to go home because of system access. This is, of course, illegal as smeg. My coworker did not choose to go home. She did not choose to use her FMLA and sick leave. My office manager did that for her. So just about 3 weeks ago, my coworker got called into our office manager's office and was told that she needed to give up her medical records, also illegal as frack. She declined and told her she will not do that and is still not signing the final written warning. She then proceeded to call HR with all of this, who then tells her, "It's funny you should bring this to our attention because you're not the only one who called us about things like this happening with her. We're building a case against her as we speak. Smeg's about to go down and I'm fracking here for it. I hate my job, and I've actively been looking for a new one, but part of me wants to stick around and see if they towed her butt off to jail, or the massive smeg show that will happen when she's fired." Edit. Woo boy, this got blown out of proportion. I promise everyone if I'm around for the aftermath, I will update somehow. No clue how long this case has been being built by HR, and no clue how long it will take to come to fruition. But if I'm here for it, and it does, I'll definitely do something to update everyone who's interested. Edit 2. Electric Boogaloo. Nothing so far, folks. I think this case might take longer to build than you or I am even thinking. Trust me when I say I want to see this come to fruition just as much as you guys do. Edit 3. Still nothing, guys. I'm starting to think nothing's going to come out of it. Or if it is, it's not going to be anytime soon. I'll post a new thread in some online forum somewhere when and if it happens, providing I still work there. Ooh, I'm glad things are being taken into consideration, but it just seems so unsatisfying. This person is still drawing a paycheck and still pulling off stuff like this. Other people are losing their jobs over this. Meanwhile, all HR is doing is building a case. Is there any recourse for these people that are losing work and losing time with this company because of this at all? Story 2. A year ago, my family member, 26, discovers that his fiancée, 29, of 7 years, who he has 2 children with, had been having an affair with his younger brother, who just turned 18. His brother was living in his house rent-free at the time as well, so his fiancée left him for his brother and had a fling with him for a couple months. The younger brother is basically homeless now, jumping from friend to friend to crash at their houses while working at a job that he makes minimum wage at, $7.25, while she's still living under her ex-fiancé's roof. She then decided she wanted to work things out with her ex-fiancé, so they got back together and decided to reconcile the relationship, which left the younger brother furious. Shortly after that, she finds out she's pregnant, but does not know which brother is the father. Her fiancé said he would raise the baby as his own even if it was not his, so she decides to keep the baby. This makes the younger brother more furious because she aborted the child before this baby that she knew was the younger brother. So the younger brother verbally attacks her for aborting the child and keeping this one because there's a chance it is her fiancé's. She is unemployed during this time, so her fiancé is paying for all of the expenses. 9 months later, still unemployed. So she has the baby, and it ends up being the younger brother's child, and they all try to do co-parenting. The baby is 3 months old now, and my family member's fiancé left him for his younger brother again. Edit. Thanks for all the silver and gold. Edit. I edited the fiancé and fiancé errors I had in the initial post and added spaces to break up the whole post. Thank you. After all this, we tried to hang out with him and our other friends at our house to get his mind off the entire situation, and he invited her over, did not ask us if it was okay or even mention it. She just showed up, knowing damn well everyone at our house does not want her there. He told us that if he is okay with hanging out with her, then we should also be okay with hanging out with her. Honestly, I've been stuck on this thread all day, and this is clearly the best one. What the frack? The older brother is an idiot, and the younger one is a jerkwad. I know that the perspective of this is in the eye of the storyteller, but this woman seems to prefer younger people as intimate partners, and she's kind of relying on the older one for stability and the younger one for fun. I mean, there's got to be a lot to this deeper on the surface, but I don't know what that is. What do you think? Story 3. My cousin has been together with his wife for 14 years and has had a girlfriend for just as long. Neither of them knew about each other. He got caught because of an image on Facebook. His wife's sister posted a family picture which my cousin was in and got recognized by his girlfriend's sister's acquaintance. He got away with that for 14 years. I'm always amazed when I hear stories like this. Like, how the hell do you have time to lead 2 lives and not have them mix? I barely have enough time to see my boyfriend. No idea how I could take on another relationship. And how do you respond when they want to meet your friends and family? A friend of mine had 2 kids with a guy who worked in oil fields. He worked in 3-month-long shifts where he would travel to another state, then come home for 3 months, then travel again. They were together 7 years, married for 5, when she was doing laundry and found a second cell phone in his pants. Turns out he had been married for 10 years to another woman who he also had kids with in his work state. She decided to wait it out, filed for annulment on the basis that he was married to someone else, and filed for custody of their kids while he was gone for work. Once she had it all worked out, she called the first wife and told her that not only had he cheated on her, he married someone else and fathered 2 other kids. The husband angrily drove for 11 hours back to her state to find the house empty. Unfortunately for her, her not husband anymore found her and beat her within an inch of her life, blaming her for the first wife leaving him. She was in the hospital for several months, and he's now in prison. Damn it, I wish he wouldn't have found her. Frack that guy. That is awful. Just no reason at all. This guy was completely a narcissist if he thought there was no blame. Also, the main question, these people that are reporting multiple families, what do they do? I would love to have that kind of a job where I had I had possible second family type of income, type of money. I'm sure we'd all like that. I wouldn't have a second family. I don't have a first family. I don't need a second one either. Story 4. My work requires everyone in our group to have security clearance. It's boring work and the most basic of clearances. Wednesday, a coworker's desk was completely cleaned out. We were told she lost her clearance and was fired. Weird. Her BFF spilled the beans later. Turns out, Sharon had met a man online and they were madly in love. And she cashed out her 401k, her life savings, and a second mortgage to send to him. She's 67. To no one's surprise, he's not a real person, and it was all a scam. He claimed he was royalty from Nigeria. Work found out when she started borrowing money from coworkers, and it made its way to our boss. It's very sad, but still, what the hell? She was around when the whole Nigerian email scam was around. She should have known better. Teach a man to fish, and he will always have food. Teach a man to fish, P-H-I-S-H, and he will become a Nigerian prince. She cashed out her 401k, her life savings, and a second mortgage to send to him? Loneliness will make you do crazy things. Story 5. I'm a teacher, and apparently I don't pay attention to SMEG. Last year, my vice principal announced that he would be leaving at the end of the year. Let's call him Mr. Bob. I was shocked, as I liked and respected him a lot. It was well known that he was pretty unhappy, and it had been a tough year. I was confused, though, because nobody else seemed shocked or upset. At the end of the year, I thought it would be nice to have everyone sign a card for him, but when I took it around, people started giving me these weird looks. Fast forward to halfway through this year. One of our teachers showed up with a change of her last name. It was now Mrs. Bob. I congratulated her and said I didn't even know she was seeing anyone, to which she laughed and said, "You're so bad." I was confused, and she shook it off. Long story short, I just recently found out that she and Mr. Bob had fallen in love or something, and he left his wife for her. He literally divorced his wife on a Thursday and was married by Friday. I had no idea until she mentioned his first name and that they were moving out of state. Looking back on it, I facepalmed so much. His wife at the time also worked for the district, and at one point I ran into her and expressed how much I would miss working with Mr. Bob. She gave me a weird look and said, "Yeah, well, apparently he's been pretty miserable." To which my dumbhead responded, "Well, let's hope he finds what he's looking for." I assumed it was all about his job satisfaction. I'm such a butthole. This was a quality read, and also something I do. Story 6. Commenting from my other account. A couple that we've been friends with for a few years now, both very normal people with vanilla jobs, took a trip overseas that was supposed to last a week. Not unusual for any of our group of friends. No one had heard from them for close to a month until we found out they've been arrested on the other side of the fracking earth trying to smuggle out close to $1 fracking million for an international illicit substance cartel out of the country they were visiting. When we heard the news, we were just sitting there quietly in disbelief for about 5 minutes. Frack, what's going to happen to them? Trial for the woman is on the 6th. Don't know if the guy will be tried on the same day. They're looking at 1 to 3 years in prison as far as we know. 1 to 3? That's it? Guess they picked a good country to smuggle in, because I was expecting 20 years or fatality. I've traveled overseas several times. Never once have I been close to being approached on some kind of deal like this. Nor would I be interested. I'm sorry, it's stuff like this. Not interested at all. Never partaken. Never been interested. Nope. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. What do you think? Have you ever had something like this happen to you? Story 7. My coworker makes $10 an hour, works part-time, and pays for her live-in still married boyfriend's rent and child support 'cause he's broke. She just found his bank receipt showing $17,000 in his checking account. Was this at least a wake-up call for her? No. Ugh, I have a coworker with a deadbeat boyfriend. Every week he does something mega fracked up, but she's still with him. She's pregnant now, so I think she believes she's stuck. But 100% being a single mother would be better than supporting a kid and a deadbeat. Sounds like she's going to be a single mother whether she stays with him or not. Story 8. I have a coworker I'll call Jess, who always talks about her kids in detail and asks for favors because of her kids, i.e. picking up shifts, asking for rides, etc. One of our other coworkers' son goes to the same bar as said girl. She doesn't know who he is, and one night was spilling her guts about how she always takes advantage of her coworkers and that she doesn't even have kids. She doesn't know that we know. Edit. Thank you so much for all the comments, gold, and suggestions. I'll definitely update everyone if anything interesting develops. Please update when you all bust her for her lies. Story 9. My divorce finalized on May 1st. My wife just had her baby from the guy she cheated on me with in early February. It definitely hurts. She called me a few days ago asking for my Netflix password, so that made me feel a bit better somehow when I said no. Ha! The day we split up, I changed all the passwords to Hulu, Netflix, HBO Now, and removed her from the Spotify plan to kick her back down to ads. It was extremely satisfying when she messaged me asking about it. She was pretty ticked since we'd had Netflix and Spotify for 10 years, and now she'll have to start her taste preferences over again. Excuse me while I paddle my boat down her river of tears. Story 10. When an ex and I broke up a little over 4 years ago, it was bad. We were both getting clean and on methadone. The things that were said. November of 17, ex asked a mutual friend if he and his girlfriend could come stay with me since they were homeless. I'm an idiot. I can't say no. I was homeless for 10 or so years, so I know how bad it can be. When I kicked them out, they had stolen so much from me. I didn't have a lot to begin with. The shrew even stole a bunch of my underwear. I literally just found out about an hour ago that she's in jail for possession. Got caught with 40 ounces of liquid horse. Karma, baby, karma. Story 11. My sister is pregnant with her third child. A third guy. The first father, V, is awesome. He has custody of both their child and her second. No biological relationship to him. The second baby daddy has apparently been threatening my sister and V after learning of the third child and that V took her in. V and my sister still have a functioning platonic relationship at this point, and due to fear of reproach from the second, and maybe the third, V has taken both kids, my pregnant sister, and his own significant other with him out of state to make sure there's no reproach from 2 or 3. V is one of my favorite humans. He treats the second child like his own, despite no longer being in a romantic relationship with my sister since 2010. Dude is as good as they come, in my opinion. This world has too many 2s and 3s and not enough Vs. Story 12. My ex-wife and I finalized our divorce last June. She's giving birth in a few weeks with the guy she was cheating on me with. If it was anyone else, I wouldn't care as much, but since it's this guy, it hurts. Oh, and her email invited me to buy them gifts off of their baby registry, so I'm trying to think of the most petty item I could get, though I know I shouldn't show I give a care. Buy them a paternity test. It'll get in the new guy's head. Oh man, this is gold. Story 13. 1. Cousin's wife finally caught his cheating butt. 3 years he's been playing her for a fool, but she actually knew. She just loves him too much. 2. Heard that the butthole who got me fired got fired because of the email that I sent to the company's VP. Honestly, wish I went with filing for a labor case, though. 3. Apparently, I'm adopted. Not really sure if the ancestry thing works. I want to find my biological parents. So much stuff is happening, I don't even know anymore. Story 14. Our pastor was having an affair with his cousin's wife. One day while giving a sermon, the cousin storms into church, tackles the pastor, and starts to throw haymakers at him. The cousin's wife is trying to pull her husband off the pastor. The pastor's wife quickly figured out what was happening, ran up and clocked the wife from behind, knocking her out. People are trying to separate everyone. Total chaos. I gotta start going back to church. Apparently, I'm missing all the good stuff. Sunday, 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 this week an all-out brawl at First Baptist Church of Houston. Get your tickets now. Story 15. Just found out that my brother, who divorced his ex-wife a year ago, got married to a new woman in secret. I mean secret, as in that he hasn't told his own kids about it. 10 and 12 years old. He hasn't told us either, rest of the family. My mother just accidentally said it to all of us. So now we know, but are pretending we don't know. None of us have met his new wife that we don't know is his wife, but still know is his wife. Does your mother know why he would want to keep his marriage a secret? Story 16. My buddy got so drunk at a party, he whipped his tool out in the living room. This is juicy because he's in his mid-30s, has 2 kids and a great job. His wife told him he did it the next day, 'cause he sure as hell didn't remember. And nearly everyone present was a coworker of ours. It's that morning where I hear the 8 words I dread most. Do you remember what you did last night? Story 17. Manager is having a threesome with 2 servers. What would you do if you were a restaurant manager? I tell you what I'd do, man. 2 chicks at the same time. Sometimes I SSH into 2 servers at once. Story 18. My gran has a brother who I've never heard of nor met, who lives in London. They lost all contact over 30 years ago after my granddad passed, and he spent the money my gran sent him for transport up to Scotland for the funeral on illicit substances. My mom told me this over Facebook last week. Story 19. A girl I worked with accused me of getting extremely drunk while babysitting her child and told the entire building of people I work with. For starters, I don't drink. She compulsively lies and everyone knows her for that. But I still can't believe it. Oh, and she paid me $10 for watching said kid and then stole it back and blamed it on one of my house guests. Wild. Story 20. An ex-friend of mine from high school is now in the middle of the second divorce. Apparently, it's because she cheated on her second husband with her current boyfriend. This is the second time she's cheated on her husband, and I'm curious if she'll marry the current boyfriend and then cheat on him. Story 21. Not recently, but the biggest is that my aunt got arrested a while back for embezzlement. She didn't do any jail time, I don't think, just has to pay it back. This isn't much of a surprise, though, because after the roof of the Blockbuster she managed collapsed, she stole all the candy. Story 22. My ex, after 1 week of being single, started dating this SoundCloud rapper. Now she's pregnant with twins. We're still in our teens. Do his songs slap, though? He's the dollar version of Lil Pump, from his music style to even the dreads. Story 23. When my brother asked my mom for $1,000 for rent, she gave him $1,400 so he could also pay back a loan. Then he turned around and also asked my dad for $1,000 for rent, which he also gave him. He then turned around and used the money to buy tickets to Burning Man. My parents aren't going to lend out any more money without talking to each other first. Story 24. I just found out my neighbor has been having an affair with another one of my neighbors, and the kids figured it out. I used to see them go jogging sometimes. Nancy Drew and the, oh no, our parents are hooking up. Story 25. I was told that my great-grandfather kept the family farm in business by blatant and repeated acts of insurance fraud. Story 26. That my uncle left my auntie for the phone spicy time line worker he was calling for the last 3 years. Story 27. My friend just dropped out of university to become an escort. He's happier, apparently. Story 28. My hairdresser is leaving her husband and 5 kids to marry an Italian basketball player.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.